This is a short demo about So You Want to Be a Coder. This is an online quick survey type course that students can take to help them determine whether they really want to pursue the medical coder career. This is part of an H-1B grant, so we included this disclaimer. We've developed 5 objectives: why medical coding is a growing career, what coding entails, what a coder does, the pros and cons, and then some resources for students to check further if they're interested. We listed the 5 reasons why this career is growing. And then we included a brief history of medical coding, starting with the bubonic plague and some key timelines all the way to present, where ICD-10 will be incorporated or adopted in October of 2015. Next, we look at what coding entails. So we included a true and false quiz, and it helps them ask themselves, is this what a coder does? Yes or no, and why? The next thing we looked at again was what a medical coder does and what traits are important to be successful. So this is just a quick overview of those traits. And then we've developed a short survey for them to take. There aren't any right or wrong answers with this, but it gives them a little bit more of a description about why they have to be detail-oriented. And so this is a self-assessment. They click their way through, and again, if all the answers are no, medical coding probably isn't for them. If they're mostly yes, then it might be a great career to pursue. Here we've included a video, and we'll show you that. It's called A Day in the Life of a Coder.
If a patient has a urinary tract infection, it's 599.0. If somebody has pneumonia, it's 486. If somebody has COPD, the code is 496. However, you can get into something like diverticulosis, and that's 562.10. Office visits, your E&M codes range from 99201 to a 99215 approximately. An injection code is 96372. Then we would add a HCPCS code of J0696. That would be for somebody who had strep throat, which would be 034.0. Okay, now what? Hi, I'm Yolanda Welch, and I am a subject matter expert in the field of medical billing and coding. The best part of being a coder, number one, is that you're not really involved in direct patient care. However, you also don't have to work specific hours. And if you always like to learn, as a coder, there's not been a day go by that there hasn't been something that I have learned.
My name is Jennifer. I'm an operations manager for Scott Family Health. We have an office in both Fort Collins and Loveland. I think the best part of being a coder is just the investigation and learning everything. You get everything in the scope. You don't just have one thing you're focused on. You get to learn and you get to dig and you investigate, so it's like you're trying to solve a puzzle.
Normally you would have your charts in front of you, whether they're electronically or in paper, and a coder's job is simply to read the entire chart, determine what has been done, determine what the patient has wrong with them. The coder is responsible to determine all that based upon the documentation from the physician, and then enter it into the computer system. The bill then drops to the business office, and the business office takes it from there and bills out the charges for that patient.
A day in my life, I pull up the schedule and I go through all my patients that were in the schedule for that day before. And I like to go through their notes and review their charts and make sure that all the codes were added appropriately. And then once I've gone through the note, I've made sure the charges are all complete, I send it to billing, and then it goes out the door and goes and gets to the insurance company and goes out and gets paid.
During an average day, I interact with physicians, with people in different areas of the facility, in the lab, in x-ray, the allergy clinic, immunization clinic, the receptionists, the medical insurance department, and the medical records department.
So in my daily life, on a regular basis, I have a billing department and a coding department that works specifically on doing coding. I also interact with my physicians, my providers, my acupuncturists, my massage therapists, my physical therapists, just making sure that their documentation is complete, and if I have any questions, I can go back and clarify. I'm in constant contact with our billing department on stuff that might be missing or doesn't mesh with what was in the chart. So I think the interactions with everybody is important. It's important to keep those relationships nice and secure, because you never know when you're going to need them or you're going to need help. So coding can set you up for office billing, collections. You could work in office management. You can do lots of different things. You can grow, and the more knowledge you have about coding and how bills come and go and how they drop and what needs to be on them and what codes need to be, the better off you're going to be and the higher you can move up in the ladder. So I think your previous background that would be great for a coder would be maybe some healthcare, but just the willingness to learn, just somebody that's open, that accepts challenges and moves forward. I don't necessarily think you have to know every single medical term that's out there, but I think you're going to have to be willing to learn them all.
If you love to investigate things and love to do research, you'll make a wonderful coder. You need to pay attention to detail, but many days you're simply reading charts, you're putting down numbers, you're doing research on things that have been done or a condition a patient may have, so you get the proper code. If you enjoy reading, you enjoy researching, you can really pay attention to detail, you will make an excellent coder.
So I think the words of wisdom that I would give to somebody that wants to be a coder is passion. You're going to have to be passionate about it. It's something that you're going to get frustrated at, but if you persevere through it and you learn and you just stick with it, you'll always get to where you want to be. Attention to detail is huge. You have to know everything. It's always constantly changing and constantly moving, so you're just always chasing. It never feels like you're ever going to learn everything, and you never will, and that's okay. So just grow with the company, just grow with the business, just grow with coding, because that's important and that's how you're going to be successful at doing it.
Now we're going to look at another objective. We're going to look at the pros and cons of being a coder. What we developed here was a drag and drop activity. It's more of a visual, again, for the student to determine whether these are the skills that they're, or the topics that they're okay with. And so, as I said, no right or wrong, but if I like repetitive work, that might be a pro. If I don't like that, I'll drag it down to the con box. But again, if there are more cons than pros, maybe this isn't a career for me. The last objective is looking at some of the resources. So we included a multiple choice, and then with everyone there will be some additional resources, some websites, some information they can read. If they are interested in our short-term course, we've got a brief description of what that is and then how to apply. And at this point, it's contacting Kathy Dotson, who's the project administrator, and her phone number and her email address.